My programming taught me that distressing emotions were negative. Any emotion other than love, joy, and passion was bad. In order to avoid distress, I repressed, suppressed, and cut myself off from shame, guilt, pain, anger, and fear. I acted out dramatically, using drugs, sex, and money to keep the quote-unquote bad emotions at bay, causing a feedback loop where the harder I tried to avoid the rising tide of negative emotions, the less I could feel the positive ones. Emotions create thoughts. Thoughts coalesce into beliefs. Beliefs manifest into behaviors. Behaviors are practiced into habits, and habits become our destiny. The mind, erroneously thinking this is what we need to survive, supports these habits, no matter how self-destructive they are. While in our addiction, the chasm between emotions and oneself only widens. Our attempts to numb our emotions intensify, and our behaviors become increasingly extreme. As I grew older, the chasm between these emotions and myself became so wide that the other emotions, love, joy, and passion, could also no longer be felt. When we numb ourselves to one emotion, we eventually numb ourselves to all emotions. This pattern is not unique in the human experience. We all do this to some extent when we are confronted with traumatic emotional experiences. Ironically, the more we avoid an emotion, the more powerful it becomes. This avoidance is based on the environmental programming we receive growing up, though genetics does play a part. As a result of my programming, I could not trust what my mind told me. My upbringing taught me not to trust anything or anyone, including myself. If someone said they loved me, I believed they were going to hurt me. To heal, I needed to go against my judgment and ask for help. I had to go against my beliefs if I ever wanted to recover and allow myself to feel anything again. This is where you are, and this is where recovery begins. Recovery is a lifelong practice of reprogramming the mind, of creating a new lens through which to see the world. You will need to relate to your shame, guilt, pain, anger, fear, joy, passion, and love in a way you have never done before. Examine the various beliefs you have about these emotions. If you are going to know yourself, you must know the mind, the tool we use to interact with the world. Mind. "I was not in my right mind" is a phrase commonly used to explain uncharacteristic behaviors. But what exactly is mind? It depends on who you ask. There are many definitions and schools of thought. The one we will examine in this book is based on Buddhist psychology. According to the New College of the University of Toronto website, Buddhist psychology is primarily about self-knowledge, finding out more about who you are, understanding your decisions, actions, thoughts, feelings, etc. It is an expression of the Delphic dictum, "Know thyself," and the injunction that transformative spiritual paths throughout time and geography have demanded as the central ingredient in authentic happiness. Buddhist psychology is, quote, radical, as it aims to challenge your worldview, as all authentic spirituality and psychology does. It is radical in that it addresses the basis or foundation of our psychological functioning, our sense of who we are, and our relationships with others and with the world. As a result, the fruit of applying the psychological insights of the Buddha requires diligence, perseverance, and discernment, as they will naturally encounter the resistances and obstacles inherent in our conditioned nature. Think of the mind as a sensory organ. Just as you have eyes for seeing blue, a nose for smelling rain, a tongue for tasting water, and skin for feeling warmth, you also have a mind for compiling information. The mind takes data from your environment and formulates hypotheses based on past data, your memories, and the information presented to the brain at the time of perception. We always say things like, "I'm angry," or "I think you are wrong." But who is this I? The I is not the thinking. If you were the thinking, then how could you have the awareness that you were in fact thinking whatever it was you were thinking?